So, so Rick, here we are in 2020, and you've made a true story, basically, right?
Yeah, who would have known? I mean, when the interesting thing is that we filmed, cut, tested, locked picture before there was anything called COVID that we knew of. And you start reaching to wonder if people are going to understand these hypothetical situations. I mean, there's been an extinction event, of course, but not for quite some time. So you're trying to set up the stakes for something real world. But what I always loved about this material was there were two monsters in it. There was the monster coming from outer space that was going to hit the planet, but it was also about the humanity itself. Would we become the monster as well? Would we turn on each other, or would we become selfless and help each other? And I think that suddenly you see something like COVID and this pandemic, and you're seeing both of it. You're seeing so many different realities play out where people are capable of heinous things when they're pushed to a life or death situation. Their own rationale how they're going to deal with life or death. Some are going to run from it, some are not. But also you're going to see humanity come together, and I wish our media would show that more. But there's some really great moments of humanity that I see with a lot of people trying to help each other through these times. Economically, as well as socially.
Yeah, no, it's true. When you walk into a store, when you see something, I haven't seen a lot of the craziness. That's more of what you see in,
Right.
people taking their phones out and
Yeah.
filming people's stores. But I've got to talk. You've worked with Gerard before, and you guys clearly have a good chemistry together. What was it? Why was it he the right voice for this character and bringing him into this world?
Because he's fearless and he's not afraid to show his sensitivities and his vulnerabilities. And I think a lot of movie stars don't want to go there. We've known each other for about 13 years now, and really wanted to work together, but you just never know until you're on set together if you're really going to have that chemistry or not. We thought we did, but it was like a lightning rod on Angel Has Fallen, and to where we had this great kind of ability to be transparent with each other, push each other, try to raise the bar on what we want to do. But we also had very similar tastes on, the scope and the sense of size and scale that we wanted to capture in movies, but also the emotion and the drama. And if you look at Angel Has Fallen, it was putting Mike Banning in a different place where he wasn't 10 foot tall and bulletproof, that he had real traits like we do, and fallacies and things that we deal with. And so then when Greenland came about, we both leaped at this to do it together. I mean, the minute I read the script, I'm like, this is Jerry's movie. And it was because he got to play a mortal person now. There was no special skill set. He's not a former Navy SEAL. He's not a Superman. He's one of us. And he's a guy that is dealing with atonement and with the redemption and a redemptive path to get past the personal things that have happened with he and his wife. Morena Baccarin plays, in the movie. And I love that. I love that there was this love story in the middle of a huge kind of massive event movie that can give you the scale, give you the scope, and bring us back to the movie theaters, why we love movie theaters in the first place, because there's just some movies that warrant that. And I would say Greenland is one of them. But there's this great intimate story within that you get emotionally hooked in with these people. And they're kind of a metaphor for me about where we're at in the world right now. We all have this ability to kind of throw this artifice on ourselves to think of what makes us who we are. When we realize that when you strip it all down and we're back to just life or death situations in our primal state, all we want to do is be loved and to love somebody back. And and none of the material stuff matters. And I loved that thematic thread in this movie.
I did too, and I also love the relationship. I love Scott Glenn here. I love that. I love that whole dynamic. It was beautiful.
Yeah,
No,
and he's a great example of that, because when I first talked to Scott, if I can have a fourth of that man's resume one day, the amount of movies that he's been a part of that have been so prolific, and he really understood the message of this movie. And he said, I think it's really important. I think this is an important movie right now where we can entertain people. You can get your popcorn and hang out and watch a big kick-ass movie, but it's got something to say. And that's, if you know my movies, that's what I'm always looking for. I'm looking for something where I'm not beating you over the head with message and trying to tell you what my opinion is, but try to put you in the middle of something and show some form of humanity and some kind of intimate portrayal of something that we can all talk about. Hopefully that's what Sidney Lumet did so well back in the 70s and the 80s.
get my family into that bunker. I know you will, son.
If you are hearing this broadcast, seek shelter immediately.
What is it? What's going on?
If you are hearing this broadcast, seek shelter
John,
immediately.
go!
Seek shelter immediately.
Hang on, Nathan.
Seek shelter immediately. Seek shelter immediately.